Hey, it's Dr. Karin. Let's face it, guilt can be so corrosive. It can eat through our lives and leave us feeling worthless if we allow it to. Many people spend their whole lives being eaten up by guilt and never learn that it's possible for life to be any other way. In this video, I want to share some tactics that you can use to release guilt, live free, and find an acceptance that will help you flourish into the best person you can be. Well, let's go. So one of the most common themes that I see with my female clients that are moms is they carry so much guilt around. So just know that if this is you, and since you're watching the video, I assume you resonate with the title, you're not alone. So many women carry it, and why do we do that? It's because we were taught by society and likely our own mothers that we're responsible for everybody else. Therefore, when things aren't going perfectly or we feel like we're not measuring up or doing enough, we pile the guilt on. And then we feel responsible for everybody else in our lives, especially our kids, and then something goes wrong in their lives and we pile the guilt on for whatever's happening with them. Guilt and guilt and guilt. And if you're a mom who also has a business, you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to kill it in that area of your life, this is likely getting in the way of that area of your life as well, because what's happening is when you're putting so much guilt on yourself, well, first of all, you're probably carrying it out at work as well. If you're one of those big caretaker types in your work, you likely have the same mentality where you feel like you have to take care of everybody, in the workplace. You got to take care of everything, and if anything goes wrong, it's always your fault. You look back and question yourself. You look back and wonder, what should I have done differently? And instead of looking at it logically, we turn into this emotional, reactive kind of mess, because guilt, if you're used to doing that, it becomes a habit. And if you're doing it at work, you're doing it at home, you're doing it as you're walking around, and you're likely constantly mean girling yourself in your own head. People, if anyone knew likely what the chatter is that's going on in your head, they will be very surprised. Because if you're an entrepreneur and you're here watching this, you're probably pretty badass out in the world, but probably people have no idea what's going on inside of your head. And that's what we want to take charge of, because all of that guilt is affecting your energy field. Not only is it affecting your mind and cluttering your thought process and disabling you from having a clear, fluid, peaceful, productive, creative day, it is clogging your energy field. So let's talk about the scale of consciousness. So David Hawkins did about 30 years of research on what certain emotions are doing to your energy field, to your consciousness, how they are actually affecting the body, okay? So this is scientifically shown. The lowest state of consciousness is actually guilt and shame. And so when we're at guilt, we're actually feeling a strong element of shame. And when those two are working together, you're actually existing. So the scale of consciousness is an upside down triangle. And so, the higher emotions are love and peace and joy, and they're up at 300, 400, 500, and you have enlightenment, and all of those great blissful feelings are up here. And when I'm doing this, like, it makes you feel super expanded. You're in your highest self, you're creative, you're productive, you're attracting lovely people. You're attracting awesome opportunities because you're emanating with an expansion of consciousness, okay? When you are inflicting guilt on yourself all day because of your kids, because of your work, because of things, the way that you are treating yourself, all that stuff, and you're mean girling because of a habit in your head, you're constricting your energy field down to about a 20 or a 30. Shame is a 20, guilt is a 30. And when you're down there, your entire energy field is contracted. And when your energy field is contracted, you cannot attract big energy experiences, big energy people. You will start attracting things that prove you right. So the universe is paying a ton of attention to everything about you, but the main thing the universe is responding is who you actually are, what emotion you're holding in your body. And that emotion actually tells the universe what you believe you deserve, okay? And the universe is here to prove you right all the time. Whatever you believe you deserve, whatever you expect in the world is what you're going to receive. It's what you're going to experience. So if you're slathering on all this guilt on top of yourself in your head all day long, I'm responsible for everybody, I should have done that, I shouldn't have done that, I need to do this, and all of the stuff that's in your head, you're constantly releasing cortisol in your body and you're constricting your energy field. So what happens then is all of that energy is a magnet. And when you're walking around with guilt as your main magnet, the universe is going to be providing you consistently with more experiences that inflict that guilt on you. Because remember, like attracts like, and your energy is affecting the matter that's being attracted into your field. okay? Because you have all the influence and all the power over what's coming your way. If you want to stop attracting energy that keeps reassuring that you should feel guilty and feel guilty because that's what you're doing, if this is always emanating from you, we need to change the way that you think in the world. Because when you were not born innately feeling guilty or ashamed about anything. Think about babies and toddlers. What do? They reach for things that they want. They say no and scream and cry to things and people that they don't want. You watch a baby, if someone doesn't feel safe to them, they will push away from them. They don't go, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, or oh, I apologize. No, they follow their gut instinct and they don't take the things that they don't want and they reach for exuberantly the things that they do want. There's no guilt or shame in any of it. There's no apology. How do they learn to feel guilty and apologize for everything? Their parents and society and their teachers. And why? Because that's what they were taught. You guys, we're going through the Great Awakening right now collectively on the planet, and part of the shift that's happening is that we can no longer agree to these low vibrational states of consciousness. And the more you're raising your consciousness and you're moving up the vibrational scale, the less you're able to hold these low vibrational states such as guilt and shame, because it does not match the light body that you are ascending to. And the light body that you're ascending to actually really matches the light body you were born with. It just got turned down and jumbled up with all kinds of negative experiences and emotions. But we're returning to that innate light being of you that you were born into this world having, okay? And so that light being, that soul that you were born to be, is not able to hold guilt and shame. You were not built to hold it. There's actually, if you can repeat this mantra in your head, I am not meant to hold guilt and shame. That's the mantra that I have in my mind. Like, it's a very black and white mantra, because I know that my soul was not meant. So what is it meant to hold? If it's not meant to hold guilt and shame, what you're meant to hold is a feeling of peace, that everything is working out the way it's supposed to. It's supposed to hold a feeling of acceptance, that everything is just as it should be. And then in every moment in time, you're doing the best that you can do based on your wisdom and your emotions in that moment. So going back and judging your past self with your present knowledge is such a disservice to you, because yeah, you know better now in this moment, so then just go and do better now and as you move forward. If you've hurt somebody, apologize and make it right. But you are not doing anybody any favors by sticking and sitting and ruminating over something that you did or a choice that you made in the past and continuing to stir up that guilt feeling within you, keep your soul contracted and emanate with such a low vibration. So I want you to start practicing how to cancel that out. Literally, when you feel yourself feeling guilt, we want to cancel it out. We want to use the mantra, everything is happening in divine timing. Everything that has happened has been perfect, because you know what? There are lessons in everything that's happened. The reason that you're so wise today is because of all the stuff you went through. You've had all those soul contracts with all those people. You've had all those soul-based experiences. Even the hard ones, especially the hard ones, were there to help you grow, to bring you into the wisdom of your now and the even greater wisdom of your future. So practice when you're feeling that guilt come up. We've got to cancel it. Tell yourself everything is perfect as it is. I love and accept myself for who I am. So I want to give you some really important spiritual advice on how to solve this issue if it is one of your issues. But if you really like this and this is lighting you up, please go ahead and like this video. That helps me get it out to more people that really, really need to hear it. And while you're here, if you love material, go ahead and subscribe by hitting the button below so you'll find out when all the new videos drop. Back to the video. So one of the most important pieces of knowledge that I'm going to give you is something that I've found has helped so many of my mom clients, and that is that your children are also on their own soul journey. So as a mom, when we pick up all of this guilt around, whatever it is, maybe it's that you shouldn't have married their dad, maybe it's that you should have helped them more in soccer, maybe it's that you should be volunteering at school more. It can be big and it can be little things, and if you're in a habit of doing that all day, you're going to start practicing the things that I've given you. But I want you to have this awareness that has a bigger perspective here. I want you to remember that each person in your life, each family member, is here on a soul journey of their own. While you may have been taught that you're responsible for everybody, that maybe you're supposed to be somebody's savior, that is BS. You are only here responsible for you. Now, as a soul contract, you took on the beautiful job of being a mother to your children. That is such a beautiful agreement for you to make on a soul level. So spiritually, your children picked you before they came onto this earth. We all picked our parents, we picked them on a soul level, and we picked the environment we were going to be raised in. And that can be hard to hear, but our soul is here as a human being on this planet, especially right now during our awakening time, to grow. It was here to have lessons and to go through really challenging things. And one of the most challenging things that we go through in this human experience is dealing with our family members. It's working out that conflict and sometimes trauma and all those things that are going through your growing up experience. That is part of what your soul picked to help you grow. So knowing that, my beautiful moms, me included, I have 3 kids. Your kids picked their dad or their mom. Your kids picked you. Your kids picked their siblings. You are not responsible for all of their decisions. You're not responsible for how their life turns out. You're here to be a guide to them. You're here to teach them all the wonderful things that you've learned, that you've been so wise to take into your life experience. But you're not here to micromanage and be responsible for everything that happens as their life continues. Remember, they are on their own soul's pathway, and what happens in their life is actually up to them. It's a matter of their soul choosing what is right for them. What we want for you on your soul's journey is for you to start choosing what is right for your own soul, and that is going back into peace and acceptance for all that has been, all that you are, knowing it is all in perfect timing, and refusing to let that guilt monster jump on you any longer. I hope these tips helped and that you can move into your life with more peace and power. So if this information really lit you up, and you might think that you're going through like an awakening because you really want to grow more in your life and learn how to work with the energy of emotions, and like you want to know more about how this all works out and soul contracts and all of that, I have a free ebook for you called Sacred Shift, where I unpack all the details that you need to know about the awakening process, and I give you all the answers that you're looking for. Click the link below to get your free download to Sacred Shift. You're going to love it.